welcome today. I'm here to talk about sin taxes today. First of all, start with a basic definition. A sin tax is a tax that the government puts on an activity or a good to discourage people from using that. Okay? Gambling, cigarettes, alcohol are three of the most common examples. Okay, a standard packet of cigarettes retails for about $12, $5 of which is tax. Okay, so it's roughly around 40%. It can go up to about 60%, but standard packet of 20 cigarettes is around 41.66%. The government raises a lot of money from that. Sin taxes are loved by politicians and economists. Economists like them because it discourages people from participating in an activity which is harmful, and because people continue to consume, the government raises a lot of money. Okay? The other thing economists like about sin taxes is that it usually achieves an efficient outcome. By raising the price of a good which is considered harmful to society, fewer people actually consume that good. Okay? Some people are addicted to smoking. Government is addicted to sin taxes. They raise a lot of money from this. Okay? The addictive properties mean that when the price rises, few people actually stop. In economic parlance, we call that inelastic demand. Okay? So for a 10% increase in price, with an elasticity of minus 0.25 to minus 0.5, the government gets more revenue, not less. 10% increase in price is a 5 to 7.5% increase in revenue. So when the government raises tax, their bottom line, to borrow a quote from the previous talk, is enhanced. Enhanced considerably. Excise taxes in 2010 raised $5.43 billion for the federal government. Add in the $1 billion of revenue from the state, and that's $6.43 billion. That's nice. It's nice for the treasurer, it's nice for the government. Take away the cost of smoking, and there are many. The obvious costs. People do get sick and die. Lung cancer, emphysema, pharmaceutical costs, hospital costs. Some poor old bugger may fall asleep, leave the cigarette near the curtain, house goes up. The fireys get called in as well. Take away all of those costs and the surplus is still $3.5 billion a year. Okay? That's the bottom line now for the government. You can see why the government likes sin tax. People with no understanding of economics can still understand why the government likes these types of taxes. Okay? Give up smoking, it's bad for you. But if you don't, we make money. The government can't lose. If we give up smoking, well, we're a healthy society. If we don't, Wayne Swan has something to pay the bills with. So it's a very easy argument to make that sin taxes can raise revenue for the government. If you look at smoking, it tends to be an inferior good. In plain English, as income rises, people smoke less. The prevalence of smoking over the last 30 or 40 years is down, but not equally down. White-collar groups are people with tertiary backgrounds who normally work in civil service, government, academia, etc., business world. Blue-collar are the tradies, the brickies, etc., etc. White-collar people have much lower prevalence rates than blue-collar. Okay? So smoking becomes an inferior good in that it tends to be associated with people from lower socio-economic backgrounds. In plain English, people who are poor tend to smoke more than people who are wealthy. Okay? It's not any startling fact. I mean, advertising has contributed to the perception that smoking is dangerous, bad, ugly, messy, dirty, smelly, etc., etc. Some people give up. People with higher income tend to give up at higher rates than people with low income. That graph just shows what I just said, so I forgot to push the button, but that's okay. You knew what that meant anyway. And see the beauty here with no notes, we're on autopilot. And I normally lecture by this way. Okay, 90% of smokers are problem smokers. That basically means they're addicted. So assuming Gary Becker's rational choice theory, people weigh up benefits and costs when taking a decision about the future, it means they get it wrong. They exaggerate their ability to give up, and they discount the future costs of smoking. It won't happen to me. We know it does. So people don't make rational choices because of the addiction. That's an important concept here, because people don't feel sorry for smokers. So what, man? They smoke. Why should we feel sorry for them? Well, they're addicted. Do you feel sorry for somebody who has an addiction to prescribed medicine, or an addiction to gambling, or an addiction to sex? You probably wouldn't feel sorry for them. That probably sounds like a good addiction, actually. Geez, wouldn't mind having that. That would be a good addiction. But an addiction's an addiction. It's a medical illness here, and we need to treat the symptoms of that as opposed to just looking at the dollars and cents, okay? And they deserve the same sympathy that other groups in society get. The other 10% are called chippers, by the way. Harry Clark told me that. He's an economist in my school who specialises in this area. Chippers. So, problem smokers, chippers. Random fact, I just thought I'd throw that in. Okay, when economists talk about actions which are harmful to other people, they love the term externality. An externality means my behaviour or attitude affects the welfare of somebody who is not a party to my activity. If somebody drops a pot plant off a roof and it hits someone in the head and kills them, that's a very bad externality in society. But externalities can be positive as well. They don't have to be negative. But with smoking, we focus on the negative. Some are obvious. I don't smoke. I don't really like being in a room of people who smoke. My clothes get dirty. I smell like an ashtray. That's not cool. May get lung cancer one day because of passive smoking. So some are pretty obvious, okay? But there are hidden externalities involved as well, okay? So this talk is about sin tax as a low blow to the poor. And what I'm really focusing on here is the inequality of the sin tax. We've already established, and it's intuitive, that a lot of smokers are addicted, therefore their decision to smoke or not is affected by the addiction. Let's focus on poor people, okay? I can speak from personal experience. I'm not poor now, I look poor, maybe homeless, but I'm certainly not poor. When I grew up, I was poor. Single parent family, 3 elder sisters. My mum raised myself and my sisters on the pension. Thankfully, the 4 children came from the same father, so it wasn't a sort of dysfunctional family. My father was just not a good human being, unfortunately. My mum was a wonderful person, sacrificed everything, very selfless, but she bloody smoked. She smoked through pregnancy, she smoked through my childhood. She's 75 years old and she's still smoking 2 packets of cigarettes a day. I love my mum, but if I get emphysema one day, I may grow to regret that. But it's too late. What's happened is happened. But back to the point here. So my mum has been addicted to smoking for 60 years. She started when she was 15. Now, she smokes on average, let's assume 1 packet a day. It's probably easier to simplify that, okay? And at a rate now of $12 a packet, that's about $5 per packet on tax. That's $2,000 per year on tax, okay? So my mum basically gives the government now on current rates about $2,000 a year in tax. The 4380 is the total figure that she spends, okay? Go back to my childhood. My mum is addicted. That tax decreases her real income. It decreases her purchasing power. That $2,000 comes from somewhere. I don't think she was a thief or a criminal in my lifetime, therefore we're assuming it's not coming from crime. But the income is being diverted from other activities. Rent, food, necessities, clothing, other things she could have spent with her time, with her money. Economists talk about a trade-off. That's the opportunity cost. The tax raises the opportunity cost because what my mum could have spent or consumed with that money is now greater, okay? At a basic level, money is diverted from other activities. If we extrapolate that example, some people who are addicted to smoking who can't fund that legitimately may smuggle cigarettes or turn to crime. So the tax on smokers imposes further externalities on poor people. The rich people still have an opportunity cost as well, but it's far lower. They have greater purchasing power to spend. Whereas poor people, who are overrepresented in statistics anyway, get hit harder. So the tax does not hit people fairly, low income and higher income. This poor guy here looks like death warmed up. Hoodie over the top. You're smoking down. Look very carefully there. That cigarette's almost at the butt. My mum used to actually butt out her cigarettes when she was desperate, near the end, put them away, stored them away for a rainy day, and when she ran out, she smoked the bloody butts. Yeah, good. I don't know that much of it. Yeah, that guy's shaking his head too. There's not much protection there between you and the cigarette. You're really both smoking bloody tar. That's filthy. That's not healthy. So this is an example, a very extreme example of a poor person who's affected badly by a cigarette. I want this guy to give up because that doesn't look very good, okay? We've spoken a lot, I've spoken a lot because I shouldn't use the sort of pronoun in the plural tense because it's just me. I've spoken a lot about the bad luck story here, the hard luck ship here of this syntax. Let's end this on a positive note before you drift off to sleep or commit self-harm. We need a positive thing here. This is what we want to see. We want to see people give up. Now I'm going to propose an economic solution to the problem. Okay? Economics is a wonderful tool. It's a wonderful instrument to understand the complexities of human behaviour. We know it can be used to harm the planet. We know that all too well. Economics can also play the role of superhero. So let me give you a brief example and then I'll be finished. So the government should give people a greater incentive to give up. Okay? Most people understand that. Let's see what the solution is here. So the problem we have in society is that most people don't actually understand the financial cost of the smoking, and they discount the future costs of smoking, the illnesses. So let's appeal to people. That should have been the wallet, but it sounded more like the key, the wallet or the purse. Let's appeal to the financial incentives of human beings here. Okay? So what I'm proposing here is that the government introduce a scheme which alleviates the inequality of the tax. Now, the tax stays. The gentleman there is very excited. You must be a smoker. The tax stays. I'm not advocating a reduction or abolition of the sin tax. Okay? The tax plays an important role in discouraging some people from smoking, but not enough. So the tax stays. The revenue is used to fund programs to encourage people to give up. Now, we already have quit programs anyway. The problem here is that it's not really giving people a financial incentive to give up. So the people who participate and complete registered programs with the government get a certificate. It's no different to being a member of like private health insurance. You get your certificate at the end of the financial year. This gentleman's excited. He's giving up soon. You can save a lot of money. So the idea is that you get a certificate saying you've completed such and such a program. Okay. The program is means tested, so people below a certain income will receive either entire, wholly or partially the tax they've paid back. Okay? No different to the carbon tax if it gets through Parliament. People below a certain level will get nothing. People between this level, people below a certain level will get everything back, but between certain bands of income will get partial, and people above a certain level will get nothing. Okay? If I smoked, I'd get nothing. But that's a good problem to have. It means I'm employed earning money. So, back to the point here. The good thing about this system here is that it gives people a financial incentive to give up. And we can create two positive externalities here. If people give up, we have lower health costs, fewer sick people, fewer medical costs associated with smoking. And the poor people who get hit hardest have more income in their pockets. So hopefully the people like my mum 25, 30 years ago have more income to actually spend on the kids and their family. Okay? So it works similar to what a normal system would be like with the private health insurance. Okay, most people in this situation win. The smokers win. Their families win. Their children win. It's probably the same category actually. Health insurers are happier as well. The only people who probably lose are the government if they want more money, and the tobacco companies because they would sell less. But I think this is a fair way of using economics to address an issue of inequality, and we can all live happily ever after. Thank you.